Hey guys, it's John, small town, small time bookseller, and I am here with another video. Gonna get to that real soon. Not gonna take a whole lot of your time today, so please stick around to the end. I appreciate it. And if you don't, I'm gonna catch you. I'll cut you with a pair of scissors. Look at those puppies right there. Boy, you know you're in a craft room when you get scissors like that. Fancy it. Fancy it. So, this is what I do. I make idle threats with sharp scissors and things, and then I expect you to stick around and watch my video. It's it's maybe not the best business model, but it's the one I've decided to go with. And so this is what I do. I sell things on eBay. I come on here and tell you all about them. That's it. I don't do garage sale videos. I don't do yard sale videos. I don't do the GoPros, to get the Goodwill bins. I look at my hands with the full weight of realization, the absolute knowledge that their poems were trivial. They were clever and incendiary, but only sensational. My little hands need to work on their poetry. So, we are going to be talking about what sold at the end of January, which brings me to a viewer question. So a lot of you are here regularly and you know how I do things, but some of you may not be, and you're sitting there going, January, PayPal, it's, it's like June. You got your J months confused, did you? Well, basically the question was, why are we seeing January sales in June? And that's a very valid question, and it is one that I shall address. I'm lazy. Oh, so lazy. And I got behind. When did I get behind? Probably last summer. Maybe when I went on a vacation. Kind of started getting behind. And then my son comes back from college and he's in the eBay room, so I don't have that space to work with. And things just kind of pile up. So I had options. I can do a quick recount, not a recount, a recall, a recap. That's the word. That's the word I'm looking for. A recap of all just the good stuff from the last few months, and then just start in with the new stuff. I could do that. I could just forget it all and just start doing now, but I don't want to do that, and it's my channel, so I can do what I want to. Me. And so I want to put in everything, and I want to catch up, and I want to start getting closer to what's currently selling, and I'll get there. I really think I will eventually get there. So right now we're going to finish up January, and it's only 28 sales for the last 3rd of January. This is January 21st through January 31st, so that 10-11 days there. And so we're going to get into this, and then I'll start in February. When I get to February, March, we're pretty slow. So I may be able to do at least a half a month in one video, if not the whole month. We'll just kind of see. So usually 25 to 30 sales is a pretty good video, I think. If I do 50 or 60 sales, it's just too tedious, too long, and I don't want to do that. So here we go. Are you ready? I hope so, because we're getting into it starting now. Oh, before we go, I lied. We're not starting now. Today's hat. That right there, contrary to what I thought when I first moved to this part of South Texas, does not say Schlumberger. But it could have. And so when I moved here and I saw the sign for Schlumberger, I thought, what the heck is Schlumberger? Well, it turns out it's Schlumberger. It's a gas and oil company of some sort. I don't exactly know what they do, but it's the same thing. Around here, we have a lot of Dow, we have Olin, we have Schlumberger, and a lot of other companies in this part of South Texas. So a lot of people work for this is actually Schlumberger, and it has on it Reservoir Completions Center, Rochelle, Texas. And if you're around here, you know that that's a Schlumberger. But if you're not from around here, you might not. And you might like to have a hat that says Schlumberger on it. Or you might want one that says Schlumberger. It's a dual-purpose hat. You can go either way you want it to. Pretty talented. You don't even have to flip it inside out. Just as is, dual-purpose hat. Schlumberger and Schlumberger. Whichever one you want. I wish there was a restaurant called Schlumberger's. I'd totally go there. All right, where's my paper? It's here in front of me. All right, you ready? All right, we are going to start in with the sales. I've got 8 Nada books, 20 books, and some interesting stuff. Some ones that you'll definitely want to stick around for. I did sell one of my Q-Links. I have sold out of the Q-Link SIM cards. There's one that somebody said they ordered by mistake and I'm going to return it. So I may have one coming back eventually, but for the most part, right now, the drawer that had them in there is empty. So I'm happy about that. I did sell the one for $7.75. All right. Now we're getting into the $10 sales. The first one we have is the Sibley Field Guide to Birds of Eastern North America, 2nd edition. That is the one without the gannet. And that sold for $10 and extra points if you name the reference there in the comments. Extra points. The next one we had. But that's a good book to look out for, or any kind of field guides, specific field guides, not just like the more specific the region, the better the book is. So if it is, the northeast corner of Papua New Guinea, and you're just talking about caterpillars, that's going to sell. Somebody needs that one. But if it's like trees of Europe, probably not so much. So this was birds in Eastern North America. Fairly specific. Those are good ones to look out for. All right, the next one was I believe this is a Spanish novel, Caballo de Troya by Benitez, sold for $10. Don't be scared to sell books in Spanish, fiction or nonfiction. I sell quite a bit. The next one, The Big Black Book of Sex Positions, Take Your Sex Life from Boring to Mind-Blowing, $10. Moving along. Next, I sold 3 copies of Mentoring Minds Response to Intervention Strategies. Anything related to education, not anything, I shouldn't say that, but RTI, Response to Intervention, is very popular in schools as a intervention strategy. And so these were flip charts, 3 different tiers of flip charts. And I sold 2 of them for $12 and 1 of them for $10. So I got on an algorithm somewhere where somebody in the computer worlds realized I was selling these things, and they sold, I had these for a long time, and all of a sudden, just within a week of each other, I sold 3. All right. And then we had another novel called Jayber Crow. It was by Wendell Berry, and that sold for $10. And then my second Nada book. This was Vintage Dansk Brown Mist Impressed Logo Revscar Denmark Salad Plate. This Dansk brand, company, imprint, brand, I don't know, whatever you'd call it, seems to do pretty well. And I did sell a salad plate for $10.80. I got this whole set of Dansk salad plates, dinner plates, cups, saucers, bowls, for really cheap at the thrift store near my work. And then we got another Nada book. Yeah, another Nada book. So this was a record. I've got to start listing more albums. I've got a bunch in there. I just need to start listing more. But this is a Bryan Adams self-titled LP from 1980. Sold for $12. And then we have a local history book, School History of Texas, 1928, sold for $12. There are some really interesting things when you get the older Texas history books. It's really interesting just the way they describe a lot of the people at the times and what's going on and things like that. It's a fascinating read, really. Then we have a hat. This was a Delta waterfowl trucker hat with a cap, with duck embroidered. Sold for $12. Let's see. We have, moving on. Next, we had the Mel Bay's Deluxe Encyclopedia of Guitar Chords. Although everyone knows you only need 3. And then, let's see. Yes. So then we have 1950 edition of Little Women. Sold for $14. All right. Eternal Colonialism sold for $15. Moving on up. Human Nature and Its Remaking by William Ernest Hawking from 1923 sold for $15. So these vintage books from the 1920s, in a number of areas, medical, historical, law, they often sell pretty well, better than fiction does. I mean, if you have a first edition or something, but a lot of 1920s classics literature are really not worth a whole lot, which is frustrating, because sometimes they're absolutely gorgeous and beautiful books and they sell for $5 or $6. But you get something that's more in the nonfiction, spiritualism, religion, things like that. Check out those when they're older ones. Here's another good genre: The Prepper's Blueprint, the step-by-step guide to help you through any disaster, even a video like this. But prepper stuff, things that are like gardening, what do you call it when you put vegetables? Canning, preserving, things like that. Those are all really good books to pick up. Then we had Cybersecurity for Beginners, sold for $17.50. Then we had another hat, Lone Star Beer, sold for $18.05. I was not going to budge on that 5 cents, let me tell you. And moving on, we have Blockchain 2035, the digital DNA of Internet. I don't know what that means, but it's sold for $20. And then another old book. We have a 1937 Webster's Dictionary. It was sold for $20. I probably have, not even looked up dozens of old dictionaries in the past, but once this one, I did for some reason look this one up, and I'm going to start looking up more of them. There's older, it's not a student dictionary from the 80s, it's a 1937 or earlier, probably ones from the 30s, 40s. The really huge ones probably sell. I don't like to mess with those. They're just too big, but this is just kind of a normal size dictionary. I'll keep looking those up. Another local history book, Texas the Marvelous. Texas. 1936 book on Texas the Marvelous by Nevin O. Winter. I just realized what a great name that is. Nevin O. Winter. Sold for $20. Thank you, Nevin. All right. Here's one that I picked up for free. So we had a community garage sale a while back, and afterwards people were saying, hey, after the garage sale's over, they put it out on the little neighborhood, Facebook page, saying, hey, everything else that's left out is free. Come take it if you want to. So I went, and there was these. These were Medline Soothe, Cool, Cleanse, Total Body Cleanser, 8-ounce bottles, and there was 6 of them. I gave one to my daughter, and I sold the other 5 for $25. So that was free. And then we have Memories of a Small Town Yankee. Just a small town Yankee from 1985, sold for $25. And then we have Rock Mechanics by Alfred Jamikas, sold for $28. And then we have one more of this. I think I've got one more of these left, something along these lines with these Graphic 45 steampunk scrapbooking, or is that the word I'm looking for? Like scrapbooking, or just kind of artsy things people do. This is the papers and stickers only, sold for $35. So these are great ones to look out for. Graphic 45 and anything steampunk seems to sell really well. And then my last 2 sales of the 10-11 day period, I sold a baseball glove. So I picked this up at the thrift store for a couple bucks and sold it for $60. It was a Rawlings with baseball gloves. Condition is very important. Make sure it doesn't show a lot of obvious signs of wear, so it doesn't have to be new. But if it's in good condition, Rawlings at least will always have a code. This one said like GGEFB13C, and that's probably the 13 is probably a 13-inch glove. And make sure you always put in whether it is a right-hand throw or a left-hand throw, because it can be confusing, because obviously if you're throwing right hand, the glove goes on your left hand. So you don't want to say it's a left-handed glove. It's not a glove for a left-hander. So you can put in right-hand throw. So it'd be someone who throws right-handed would need this glove. And that sold for $60. So that was a pretty good sale there. And then the last sale was a set of 3 books on William Jennings Bryan, Political Evangelist by Paulo Coletta. And those sold for $80. 80 big ones. All right. That's all I got. That was it. So starting to slow down. As you can see, last time I had 3 or 4 books over $100. And this time I've got none. So $80. And I think going into February, it did slow down quite a bit in March and before it started to pick up again. So this particular time we had 8 Nada books, which sold for $180.60. So for an average of $22.58, which is not what I was going for. I was hoping for a little bit. Oh wait, no, I just double checked. And that was exactly actually. I was $22.58, yeah. Nailed it! My book average, however, $370 on 20 sales with an $18.53 average, which is below my completely made up and arbitrary number of $25 that I consider a good sales period. So a little low on the book average, a little low on the total sales. But overall, you know, it ain't too shabby. And so that's about it for me. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. I don't believe so. I'm going to try to edit this one, get it out tomorrow, maybe do one more in the next couple days, and try and get caught up. But I do appreciate you sticking with me. And, you know, 6 months ago, this is what sold. Hopefully it's still relevant. And y'all hope you're just selling the heck out of a whole bunch of stuff. And oh, if you want this hat, I forgot to mention about the hat. I talked way too much about it, but then I forgot to mention, if you want it, I'll have it listed later today. And just tell me that you're a viewer and it's yours for $5. So whatever astronomically ridiculous price I put on it, that is not for you. You can have it for $5. Just let me know you're a viewer, and I'll send it out to you. Thanks again. Good luck with everything. And I'll hope to see you sooner rather than later. Adios.